We have beaten baseball to death, and so I think we'll get off it now. Do a little Yankees-Red Sox tomorrow, which is important. The Yankees do lose a bad game today, looks like, to the Orioles, so we have that going on. I wish I could edify you on the Urban Meyer scenario, and I know in this period of time, you cannot cover up any kind of sexual harassment or anything in those lines. You're going to get yourself in big trouble. I don't know. I did know about the assistant coach. I did know that Ohio State fired him and not Urban Meyer. I was aware of that. I did not know of the latest until Eddie told me there at the top of the hour at 3 today, Eastern Time, regarding the fact that, there was folks out there that Meyer lied and saying he didn't know anything about it when, in fact, he did. Are we surprised that Urban Meyer lied about that? I mean, these coaches would do anything to stay away from any kind of controversy. They would do anything they possibly can to make sure that they are at least giving you the idea that their program is run cleanly. They will do that. And so as a result, he doesn't want to go to his media day in the Big Ten Conference. I believe this is when he made these comments.
Yeah, they are, but they're kind of connecting the dots there. They're assuming basically if his wife knew, then he had to know. That's kind of what they're saying.
And the wife did, and the wife knew because the coach's wife or girlfriend, whoever she was, and the wife
his ex-wife had been texting Urban Meyer's wife, in addition to some of the other assistants on the team, their wives.
So Urban Meyer's wife should have known, and then Urban Meyer's wife should have told Urban. Is that the deal here?
And she actually encouraged her to, because she said, if you do this, I'm going to have to tell Urban, and to which the other coach's wife said, please do. So that's where it ends. Now, her comments today, she did not say, do you know if Urban knows? She said, I don't know. So no one is putting him on the hook for knowing and not doing anything about it. I think they're trying to connect the dots to say, well, if his wife knew, how did he not know?
Well, here is the problem here in Ohio. Urban Meyer is bigger than anybody in the state. And I just don't know. I mean, I'm not going to be that interested in a day-in, day-out basis. I know ESPN will probably stay on this for a little while, but he's not in New York City. He's not in a huge market. He runs the whole thing. It's his fiefdom. I don't know if there's going to be an incredible amount of media pressure on this where he's going to have to answer these questions day after day after day, and it's going to wear him out, and we're going to learn more information and everything else. They are more concerned. The readership there, it's like Kentucky basketball. The readership there and the fan base it doesn't care what, as long as Meyer wins on Saturday afternoon, that's all they care about. They are not so wrapped up. And he's won a championship there as it is at Ohio State. So he's already produced what he was supposed to produce. I just don't know if people out there in Columbus are going to be that wrapped up on this. Now, I may be wrong. And now you tell me that his wife, and his wife's not going to bury Urban. Yeah, I told the coach. I don't know what he did. I mean, she's not going to say anything. And then Meyer says, yeah, she didn't tell me anything about it. And so then the grief's going to go to the missus. I don't know. We'll see if there's a bloodhound run at this, and if it's sharks smelling blood, and they go out there, and everybody in the media wants to go attack Urban Meyer. I would be shocked if this amounts to anything, to be honest with you. I think part of it with me is the idea that I just know how big college football is in these little communities, and Ohio State is a little community. Columbus, it's a small town feel to it. Tuscaloosa, we've gone through this 1,000 times, and these coaches, as long as they win, Les Miles stopped winning. Unless it really gets out of hand like the whole thing last year with Freeze there at Mississippi, these coaches are going to, if they win, are going to survive any of these issues off the field. Now, this is a bad one, but it seems like he shielded some. We'll have to wait and see on it. And the fact that Urban Meyer lied, who cares? These coaches lied to save their bacon day in and out. And I'm not a big Urban Meyer fan anyway. I've told you this 1,000 times. We all know, to me, he's somewhat culpable with the whole thing with Hernandez with the Patriots. He was shooting guns off in bars when he was in Gainesville, and Meyer didn't do anything about it when he was coaching Florida. Him and Belichick are tight. The Patriots drafted him. So I think Meyer, I understand it's football players and football teams, and it's 45 guys, and you can't babysit all of them. But I think that Meyer was awfully light with punishment of basically making sure that Hernandez was not going to get away with this stuff because he was a great player. He's a great tight end, big athlete. I think Meyer was relatively, looking the other way with a guy like Hernandez. So he's probably going to look the other way here. We'll see what occurs. So from that standpoint. Let's get some calls in. 888 Mad Dog 6. Here's Huck in Missouri. He knows college football pretty well. We say hello. Huck, welcome. How are you today, pal? Okay?
Pretty good. Chris, I think this is a huge story, man. I really do. And I think this is just the beginning. You're going to get every reporter in America, not in America, but you're going to get a lot of reporters that's going to flock to Columbus. They're probably on their way there right now trying to dig up the number one story, to get more information on this. So you're going to have a lot of guys that's going to try to do everything they can to get more on this story.
I have to see it. I have to see it. I have to see that to believe that. Ohio State wants to win more than anything else. Meyer is not going to all of a sudden make himself available. I'm sure they have practices. Those practices are barred from the media. He can play hard to get. He can hide. Ohio State's going to protect him. They want him to stay there as the coach. They're going to let this blow over. That would be my impression of it. Now, again, you know the college football theme. You being the huge Oklahoma fan that you are, you know the college football theme more than me. But I know the way these college administrations work, especially at these big programs where the head coach in football means everything. Alumni donations, applications from across the country because the team is good. TV contracts. The Big Ten's not going to want to bury Meyer. He's going to have to do a lot more than, whether his wife received texts from a former friend of hers who was with the husband who's an idiot. That's going to have to be a lot more than that to get Urban Meyer out of Columbus. I'll be honest with you. Go ahead.
Well, I would agree with you there. I think it's going to take more information, but I think there's potentially more information that could be gathered on this. When the whole thing broke with Baylor, the first story was it was, okay, well, maybe there's something to it, and then it bloomed into what it bloomed into. So, I tell you what, Chris, I do believe 10 years ago, I agree with you. I don't think these coaches could do anything they wanted to. I think it's changed a little bit. I think it's changed.
Huck, don't compare Art Briles to Urban Meyer. Don't compare Baylor to Ohio State. Art Briles had a litany list of, things he was doing wrong, throwing the idea that people wanted to get him anyway from running up scores. You can't compare Art Briles to Urban Meyer. If Urban Meyer was alleged to have committed sexual assault or was sexual harassment, you'd have something. Or domestic violence. You'd have something. It wasn't he who did it. It is what he knew about a coach on his staff. Well, that's a lot different than you doing it yourself. And you want to tell me that he's the caretaker of his program, that he should have made sure that the guy was fired and this was not going to be tolerated? Well, he let Adrian Hernandez run around Gainesville with guns for years. He didn't do anything about that. Nothing happened to him. So I would be surprised. I would be surprised. Go ahead.
You're right. That's a bad comparison to Art Briles. It's totally different. But 41 of his players in 2008, Chris, had been arrested. 41. So Urban Meyer, you're right about it, and he wants to win. There's no question about it. But I don't know. We'll see. I just think that they're going to do a lot
lot
digging, and there may be more to this. And if there is, I'm not saying listen.
Again, here's the Huck. Here's the issue. Did he commit domestic violence? The answer is no.
No, he did not. No, he did not.
Well, if he didn't do it, and it was just what he knew and what he didn't know, and if he could have maybe got the guy out of there a little earlier, got professional help for him, made it known to his university. All right, if that is your acquisition, but he did not commit it. He did not do it. So he did not commit a crime here. He might have done a bad job. He might have done a bad job with responsibility, but that's not going to get him thrown in jail.
I'm just saying, Chris, I've seen 1,000 different things over the last couple of years, little stories that didn't really amount to much, but the media gets a hold of it and runs with it. I can name 100 different things. The Red Sox, the guy that does the Red Sox games that mentioned something about the player needed to learn English, and he got destroyed. I'm just saying a lot of these things, it's not such a big deal. Fester into a big deal when a lot of people just out to get you or want to make a story out of it, they sink their teeth into something.
But
he's responsible.
Nobody in Columbus wants to get him. Nobody in that state wants to get him. They love Meyer. This is not Woody Hayes punching somebody on national TV. They love Meyer. This is and good call, Huck. This is this is one of the best coaches outside of Saban. He's the best coach in college football. And this is Ohio State. Paul Brown, Woody Hayes. This is Ohio State. He did not. Now, listen, I don't like Meyer. So you want to throw him out of there? Love to see it. I'm not a fan. I think to me, I can't stand a guy. He's a great coach. But I'm not a big fan. I think he's, as you said, 41 players. I don't think he cares what his players do as long as they show up in practice and show up on Saturday afternoons. So I'm not interested. I don't think he's, he's not. I don't think he's necessarily developing great citizens, but he wins. And that's in college football at a place like Ohio State. That's the most important thing. Unless he committed the crime himself, which he didn't.